Chicago, 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 Chicago. Chicago, 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 Chicago. I can't believe this. I meant to talk about this yesterday, but it's okay. We here now.
People have gathered here tonight at Harmony Community Church here in Lawndale as they're trying to light the way to fairness with this bonfire and discussion tonight. Many homeowners across Chicago receiving a hefty property tax increase in the mail, and they're all wondering where that money is going.
How can you maintain your home if your taxes are constantly going up?
Homeowners in Lawndale are searching for answers together tonight about their property tax hikes. Community leaders partnered with the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation to host this bonfire, allowing neighbors to discuss their options. One man says he received a bill this week that was $977 more than what he paid last year.
Tax increase is tied to a TIF that I have no idea why. Ogden Pulaski TIF is collecting money from our neighbors in our streets, but we're not being notified for what or why it's in the bill.
The group discussed a number of solutions for the issue, including an effort to propose new.
Let me tell you what happens, all right? When they propose this new stuff, because he's saying, oh man, the tax money is being proposed for a tip, blah, 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 right? What happens is when new things are introduced, which is the reason why I'm so concerned about you guys over in New York. When they first make a proposal, it's like the schools, right? They'll always say, hey, listen, we're going to use this for this. We're going to make it better. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, when has that ever happened? When has schools ever happened because they started to introduce the lottery? And they said, listen, we're going to use the lottery money in order to improve the schools. We're going to have all of the money. And you know what they do? They redirect it. They pivot. It only takes one situation, one budget shortfall, one whatever. And then they use some kind of creative rule that allocates the money from your TIF or your lottery or your schools or whatever it is that you want to come up with. And they reallocate that into the budget. And then they introduce a new person that is going to present to you a new idea. And we're just going to raise taxes just one little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a teeny bit more. We're only going to tax rich people 2% more. Hey, listen, you guys can pay 2% more. You're already paying 50% of your taxes. Pay 2% more. And then they reallocate the money. So now the people in Chicago are saying, hey, listen, I got this TIF. I haven't seen no improvement. I haven't seen any improvement with police presence. Our schools is fucked up. Everything is messed up. And one thing that Chicago said in their $1.6 billion annual budget deficit, which they are going to continue to have a budget deficit, I feel so good right now because I warned you. I warned you. I warned the people in Chicago when I said it. I've been saying it. I've been pitching it to you. I told you exactly what's going to happen. I literally gave you the blueprint for how they were going to run the city in the ground. I also predicted, which is going to come true eventually, that eventually you're going to have a doom loop and the city will be on the verge of bankruptcy sooner rather than later. I have been preaching this to the rooftops for the last 5 years. I said, listen, you guys are going to suffer. You have the three pitches of death right now, okay? You have a declining economy because you want to overtax people, and so the people that are paying the majority of the taxes, you're going to run them off. And guess what happens when you run off the majority of the people that run the taxes? It always comes back to you. Rich people don't suffer. Rich people don't pay more taxes. They leave because they have the availability to do so, and then they put it on you. You are going to be the one. The residents are the ones that are paying for them skyscrapers. They paying for y'all bad credit in Chicago, right? Because Chicago's credit rating went down. They're paying for a lack of police presence. They're paying for the illegal migrants. They're paying for your infrastructure problems. They're paying Saudi Arabia for them owning your streets. You guys have literally embraced the worst thing for yourselves. And I warned you, I've been trying to preach this to the top of the mountains since forever. I've been going off on Brandon Johnson and Lori Lightfoot since forever. And guess what y'all did? Nigga, shut the fuck up. You stop talking about Chicago. Don't talk about us no more. This and that, so on and so forth. Now look at you. Now look at you. Now they've raised your property taxes in some instances 90, 102%. They've raised your property taxes double. They're going to take your property. You can't afford to live there anymore. Some of y'all getting property tax bills $2,000, $3,000 more than it was last year. You are in a doom loop. Doom loop. And I warned you. But you know one thing about us is that we complain afterwards and we try to do something reactionary, but we never take proactive steps when somebody is telling you. It's like, hey guys, the flood is coming. The flood is coming. Hey, we got to do something different. We got to stop this. Thank you, Tavi. I appreciate you. You like the gray? The gray like you too. And then this is what y'all got to deal with. Now y'all dealing with the property tax
policy, which would be modeled after California's Prop 13. That would limit property taxes to 1% of assessed value, with annual increases capped at 2%. Homeowners are also frustrated because they feel like they're not seeing the tax hikes lead to notable investment in their neighborhoods.
There's been a divestment in this community for the most part, but it seems like now that people have found an interest in reclaiming the neighborhood, now it's like we're being taxed for prosperity.
Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas also spoke earlier today on the tax bills while at a Rainbow Push event. She says there are new avenues for homeowners.
Go ahead, take your neighborhood back, y'all. Take the hood back. You know what they're going to do? They're going to charge you for it. You know why? Because you can't just buy up the hood and that be it. Let me tell you how I learned this lesson. And let me tell you why I am the new leader of the Black community. I have designated myself. Absolutely, Enos, I got you. I have designated myself the fixer of the Black community, the truth teller, the new Martin Luther King. I know you're going to hate me for it. That's why I ain't pick Malcolm X. I'm the new Martin Luther King of the Black community. You know why? Because I've been through it so that you don't have to. And I'm going to give you the game, but you're going to hate me for it. And then you're going to come around and you're going to appreciate it afterwards. This is how I know you can't just buy up the block. This is why you don't listen to rappers. This is why you don't listen to motherfuckers that's just talking and just throwing stuff out there. When I started buying and building houses long ago, buying houses, building houses more recently within the last 2 to 3 years, I've been building houses, right? When I started buying and building, I started looking at things a little differently because I wasn't using any capital after a certain point. I wasn't using any financing. I didn't need no banks. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy up all of the houses. I'm going to fix them up. I'm going to put people in and all of this stuff, so on and so forth. But what I realized is I was limiting the amount of power that I had, because no matter how much I tried to change the community and buy it up, I was still subjected to the bad decisions of the majority of the people that lived there because they were still voting the same way that they did. So some of these cities that I would buy up property and build up in, I would do a little bit of research, and I realized that some of these people or some of these cities that are ran by the most incompetent leaders that are voted on by the people that are residents there, they have some of the highest property taxes. What? That means that I had to get involved with the leadership just to be able to create an environment that was going to be ideal for you to raise your children in. It wasn't enough for me to own and buy the property and put people in there and do affordable housing. And that's why I'm able to see through all of these bullshit politicians that pitch y'all that ain't never had a job, ain't never built nothing, ain't never paid property taxes. It wasn't enough. I also had to get involved in politics. I had to influence city council. I had to determine how they were going to do things. I had to work with business leaders to say, hey, listen, we're going to invest in this city. Why? Because the more that we put money into the city and we give jobs, not only do we make money, but we also lower the cost of living for the people that live there, because it is the business community that drives investment, drives success, and it drives lower property taxes for the people. You can't even have a conversation about lowering your property taxes because the city needs it. And that is the lifeblood of it. They don't use it anymore for just schools and infrastructure and police services. They're using it to fill bad decisions from past administrations, and they continue to kick the can down the road. So when I listen to these people say this dumb shit online and they say, oh man, just buy up the block, buy up your neighborhood. Nope. It has to be multiple different things that work at the same time that ensures you become successful in your own city. Otherwise, you'll get a fucking Flint. Everybody will leave. Property be cheap, but you have to get business leaders to participate. Otherwise, you don't even have the capital investment to fix your infrastructure. Then you start getting corroded pipes. Then you get fucking potholes. Then you get police leaving, and they can't even recruit enough police to want to work there because they can go over to greener pastures. Because unlike what you think, and even though you want to elect a socialist, what you really doing is signing your own demise. Let me break it down for you. Socialism is death for a city because cities have to compete with other cities for resources, from the federal government all the way over to other business leaders. Why would a business invest in your city and give jobs and have taxes being taken out and create a conducive environment when they can go over there? So when you say, oh, I want to tax the billionaires don't no longer have to be there. So the cities have to compete for investment from other business leaders in order for them to be successful. That's why Detroit is able to have a comeback. That's why Detroit, despite having a liberal city, is the only major liberal city that has had 11 consecutive years of surpluses in their budget. 11 consecutive years of surpluses in their budget. Meanwhile, Chicago got a $1.6 billion budget deficit. Los Angeles, same thing, $1.5 billion budget deficit. Denver, $300 million budget deficit. Memphis, $300 million budget deficit. New York, $4.4 billion budget deficit because it takes the business community, politicians, and the residents working together. You cannot have success unless you have all three working together to be successful. You can know it by just looking at some of these suburban cities. I don't have to guess about Chicago. The numbers tell me that it is a dying city. The property taxes, the people suffering, it is a dying city. I don't have to listen to a fucking politician. All I got to do is pull up y'all property records. All I got to do is look at the police budget. All I got to do is look at where it is that y'all allocating y'all resources. You can't fix the city. You can't fix it. Even when you vote, let's say you get a different mayor, you still got the same fucking aldermen. The aldermen are the ones that have the keys to the city as far as approving the budgets, right? Their main job is to approve the budget. They voted to get themselves fucking raises, though. They voted to get themselves raises. If you don't run the city like a business and you elect a geography teacher to sit here and give you all this blackity black shit, you know what the black community needs? Let me tell you what the black community needs. The black community needs two things. It needs education and it needs money. Not from the federal government. They need an opportunity to provide for themselves. That is the key to success. That is the key to success. When you see what is happening in Chicago, remember, I told you so. I don't give a fuck what black leader you sit there and put on a pedestal. I don't care how much diversity, equity, and inclusion that you put it in there. You are going to fall. You will suffer. You will suffer. You know why? You know why? Because you don't understand what it takes in order to be successful. None of these people was ever successful on their own. You can't have a lifetime politician come in and fix a city. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it because you upset with what I'm telling you right now. But I am telling you that you are literally killing yourself and you're going to get your house took. You're going to get your house took. And more business leaders are leaving Chicago, or more businesses are leaving every single day. And it's going to be literally going to be on the backs of the residents, and they can't afford it no more. They broken. They done. It's over. It's over. They having a fucking property tax bonfire. You know what that's called? That's called hoping. That's called praying. That's wishing. That's niggas wishing on a. They wishing on a star. They wishing, they hoping, they praying to God. God, come and save me. God, come and save me. They having a property, it says it right there, a property tax bonfire. A property tax bonfire in Chicago. These niggas is the new Indians.